A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope it's audible and I'm visible also. So let's come back to another session of pre-connect, and today we are going to see the process of lawmaking and the previous year questions associated with this. When I was segregating the questions, I just I was not very much clear that how much question should I show. So what I did was that in this very chapter, that is lawmaking, the process of lawmaking in India, we can divide this chapter into multiple parts. Every year you will see that with this process of lawmaking, at least two to three questions are being asked in examination. So covering complete lawmaking in a single session of 25 to 30 minutes is not sufficient, or is not possible. So what we have done here is we have divided this process of lawmaking also in multiple parts. Today we will see the comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, very important point from where you will see that on a regular basis questions are being asked in examination. In the same manner, we can divide this lawmaking process in various other parts, like what are the constituents of this parliament and the state legislature. We can see various devices used in the parliament and the associated concepts, terminologies, and we can also see the committees. You will see that every year questions are being asked from all these sections one by one. So, Pratyaksh, good afternoon, and let us start with today's session of lawmaking, where we will primarily focus on the comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Very important topic. You will have 20 to 25 points with reference to this provision. With reference to this provision of comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but you will see that almost every year questions are being asked from here. Let us see the questions one by one. When the annual union budget is not passed by Lok Sabha, the budget is modified and presented again. The budget is referred to the Rajya Sabha for suggestions. The Union Finance Minister is asked to resign. The Prime Minister submits the resignation of Council of Ministers. So, very simple question. Pranam Saurav. A very simple question. Just see the essence of this question. What would happen if the union budget is not passed by the Lok Sabha? So, here we need to see multiple concepts. The first concept is, does the budget needs to be passed in Lok Sabha only, or Rajya Sabha also needs to pass this budget? Again, if the budget is not passed in the Lok Sabha, then what will happen with reference to this? So, we have multiple options. Obviously, anything which goes against the Council of Ministers or against the executives, political executives, it means there is this chance of no confidence. So, answer would be D only. D would be the answer. Now, if you see this, just try to understand what are the roles or what are the special powers of Lok Sabha and what are the special powers of Rajya Sabha. Always remember that whenever there is anything associated with federalism, federal issues, the Rajya Sabha may become more powerful, and when it is about the money, budget, consolidated fund of India and so on, the Lok Sabha will be more powerful. Let's see another question. Which of the following special powers have been conferred on the Rajya Sabha by the Constitution of India? Now, if you talk about this question, you will see that on a regular basis, we have been seeing this question. That is Article 249 and Article 312 of Indian Constitution. If you talk about the special powers of Rajya Sabha, there are 4 special powers in the hands of Rajya Sabha. That is Article 249, Article 312, Article 67, Clause B, and in the case of emergency. In these 4 cases, these are the 4 cases where we see that the Rajya Sabha is more powerful than the Lok Sabha. Let me repeat these concepts again. The first concept is Article 249 of Indian Constitution, which gives Rajya Sabha the power to pass a resolution to make a law on the state list for a specified period. We have the concept of Article 312 of Indian Constitution, which gives the power in the hands of the Rajya Sabha for creation of All India services. We have Article 67 Clause B, which specifies about the process of removal of Vice President of India, which can only be initiated in Rajya Sabha. And in the case of emergency, that is, whenever emergency has been proclaimed or proclamation of emergency has been announced by the President, and in the meantime Lok Sabha is dissolved, then the emergency will exist if it is approved by the Rajya Sabha. These are the 4 special powers of Rajya Sabha. In the same manner, we have some powers of Lok Sabha also, which are special powers, and there are certain powers where both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are equal. So, when you talk about the comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there can be 3 instances. The first instance is Rajya Sabha is more powerful than Lok Sabha. The second instance is Rajya Sabha is equal to Lok Sabha, and the third instance is Rajya Sabha is less powerful than Lok Sabha. We have to see the questions, we have to see the concept, we have to go through these concepts through these three dimensions only. That is, Rajya Sabha being more powerful than the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha equal to Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha less powerful than Lok Sabha. See the next question. So I hope you guys know the answer of this question also. B. Which of the following is the exclusive powers of Lok Sabha? Now here, what is the demand of this question? The demand of this question is this one. This one, that is Lok Sabha being more powerful, exclusive powers of Lok Sabha. When you talk about this concept of exclusive powers of Lok Sabha, then let us see all these options one by one. To ratify the declaration of emergency, to pass a motion of no confidence against the Council of Ministers. See, whenever it is about accountability, whenever you see the concept of accountability, what happened to this? Concept of accountability, you will see that Lok Sabha becomes more powerful, and whenever it is about the Council of Ministers, whenever it is about the no confidence motion, then in all these scenarios we will have this very condition, that is, it will be in the hands of the Council of Ministers and that will be in the hands of the Lok Sabha only. The third statement is impeach the President of India. This shows the condition of Rajya Sabha being equal to Lok Sabha. This is also the condition of Rajya Sabha being equal to Lok Sabha. So the answer would be 2 only. Again, a very interesting question. Consider the following statements. The Constitution of India classifies the ministers into 4 ranks. Now, I had already specified that what we need to do with reference to this concept of the Constitution of India classifies, or the Constitution of India mentions, or the Constitution of India specifies, defines, and so on. So whenever we get any question, any statement like that, we know what we have to do. Obviously, the statement would be incorrect. If you talk about the second statement, then through 91st constitutional amendment, this concept came into existence. Before this 91st constitutional amendment, we had no such concept. So the answer would be B, that is 2 only. Again, a very interesting question. Now here also you will get this concept of Rajya Sabha being equal to Lok Sabha. So I have already specified that how this classification will be there. Here in this case we are seeing that the Rajya Sabha is equal to Lok Sabha. How? Let's see the question again. The Prime Minister of India at the time of her appointment need not necessarily be a member of one of the House of the Parliament, but must become a member of one of the houses within 6 months. So he can be a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. First question. First statement. Second statement, need not necessarily be a member of one of the houses of the Parliament, but must become a member of the Lok Sabha within 6 months. That is, the person should become a member of Lok Sabha within 6 months. Third option, must be a member of one of the houses of the Parliament. And the fourth option is must be a member of the Lok Sabha. So if you see the statements, you will see that some of the statements are specifying about Lok Sabha. But when you talk about the ministers, always remember that ministers can be from either House of Parliament, that is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Just see the example of Manmohan Singh, Narendra Modi and various other Prime Ministers of India. If you talk about Manmohan Singh, he was a member from the Rajya Sabha. If you talk about Narendra Modi, he is a member from the Lok Sabha. So this concept goes on with the passage of time that anyone can be a minister and need not be a member of the House. The only condition is the person should become a member of the House within 6 months. Let's see some more questions. What will follow if a money bill is substantially amended by the Rajya Sabha? Again, a very interesting question with reference to this types of bills. When you talk about the concept of types of bills, you have to understand that there are certain basic types of bills which is specified in the Constitution, like money bill, like finance bill, like constitutional amendment bill, and ordinary bills. So excluding these 3 types of bills, all other bills are known as ordinary bills. And when we talk about these bills, then Article 110 specifies about money bill. Article 117 specifies about finance bill. Article 368 specifies about constitutional amendment bill, and other concepts specifies about ordinary bills. So when you talk about these types of bills, we have to understand that how these bills are passed and what is the power of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha with reference to these types of bills. What will be the powers in the hands of the Rajya Sabha with reference to Article 110, with reference to Article 117 Clause 1, with reference to Article 117 Clause 3, and with reference to Article 368 of Indian Constitution. So when we see these concepts to this dimension, then only we will be able to understand this whole concept. When we talk about this money bill, always remember that in this case, Rajya Sabha is less powerful than the Lok Sabha. So if Rajya Sabha is less powerful than the Lok Sabha, then automatically there will be less role of the Rajya Sabha. Now see the options, you will automatically jump on the answer also. The Lok Sabha may still proceed with the bill, accepting or not accepting the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha. This shows us the concept of Lok Sabha being more powerful than the Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha cannot consider the bill. If we see this option, then Lok Sabha is equal to Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha may send the bill to the Rajya Sabha for reconsideration. Again, equality. The president may call a joint sitting for passing the bill. Again, equality. So the answer would be A only. Let's move forward to the next question. The Parliament can make any law for whole or any part of India for implementing international treaties with the consent of all the states, with the consent of the majority of states, with the consent of the states concerned, without the consent of any state. Now the point is, Parliament has got the authority to make laws on the union list and concurrent list. On the other hand, on certain conditions, Parliament can also make laws on the state list. What are these conditions? If we talk about these conditions, there are certain specified conditions, 5 provisions on under which Parliament can make laws on the state list also. If we talk about these provisions, let me specify these provisions one by one. So we have the concept of Article 249. We have the concept of Article 250, we have the concept of Article 252, we have the concept of Article 253, and we have the concept of emergency, that is President's rule and financial emergency. So if you see these conditions, these are the conditions which we consider with reference to making a law on the state list. Article 249 of Indian Constitution, this gives us the power in the hands of Rajya Sabha. Again, if you move forward, then we have the concept of Article 250 in the case of national emergency. Article 252, whenever 2 or more states request the center to make the law for that particular state. 253 with reference to international treaties. So here the question is about the Parliament can make any law for whole or any part of India for implementing international treaties. Here the concept requires this Article 253. So in the case of international treaties, Parliament can automatically make laws. If Parliament can automatically make laws, then there is no issue with that, that is without the consent of any of the states. Had it been with reference to this, then the condition would have been different. If it had been about 252, it would have been different, and so on. So when you talk about the power of Parliament to make laws on the state list, these are the conditions on which Parliament can make laws on the state list. 249, 250, 252, 253 and 356 wala condition. Just go through these concepts and everything will automatically become clear. Let's see another question. Consider the following statements regarding a no confidence motion. Again, when you talk about this concept of no confidence motion, just try to understand one thing associated with this. That is, whenever you talk about this concept of no confidence motion, who will be more powerful? It is about the accountability of the executives. So, executives are accountable to the legislature in this parliamentary form of government, and in India we have parliamentary form of government. So, whenever you talk about this executives and legislature, always remember that the role of the Lok Sabha will come into existence. So, in this case of no confidence motion, we have Lok Sabha being more powerful than the Rajya Sabha. Now, see this question very clearly. There is no mention of no confidence motion in the Constitution of India. Again, the same statement specifies, defines, mention and so on. So, if you talk about the Constitution of India, at no point we have been seeing this concept of no confidence motion. However, this concept originates from Article 75 of Indian Constitution, which talks about collective responsibility. And from here, we have been seeing this concept of no confidence motion. But this no confidence motion is mentioned in Rule 198 of Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business of Lok Sabha. And from there, if you talk about this Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business of Lok Sabha, this Rule 198 specifies the whole process associated with this no confidence motion. So it specifies that how this no confidence motion will come into existence. Is the speaker bound to accept it? What is this 10 days provision and so on? So if you have to read this no confidence motion, you have to see this rules of procedure and conduct of business of Lok Sabha, rule number 198. It is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution of India. But how this concept comes under this Constitution of India? It is on the basis of this Article 75 of Indian Constitution. If it is about Article 75, then which article will it be related with reference to state legislature? Can anybody tell me? The same article for state legislature. So the answer would be 1 is incorrect. A motion of no confidence can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only. The answer would be B, obviously. Again, a question with reference to money bill. Just see how this concept of money bill is important. Questions are being asked again and again from this money bill, that is with reference to this comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Again and again, the same question is being asked. The only thing is they are changing the process of asking the questions. They are not changing the questions. On the same theme, that is comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, if you pick the previous 10-year questions, you will see that at least 14 to 15 questions are there from this very section. You just need to differentiate how these questions are being asked. So see the question again. Consider the following statements. The Rajya Sabha has no power either to reject or to amend a money bill. The Rajya Sabha cannot vote on the demands for grants. The Rajya Sabha cannot discuss the annual financial statement. So the third statement is for sure incorrect. Rajya Sabha can discuss it but doesn't vote on it. Rajya Sabha has the power to discuss the annual financial statement. It cannot vote on the annual financial statement. So this statement 1 is correct. Now there is some sort of dispute with reference to statement 2. The Rajya Sabha cannot vote on the demands for grants, and this is what is the concept. If you see these two statements, you will automatically jump to the answer, that is Rajya Sabha can discuss but cannot vote, and this is the concept with reference to budget. See some more question. There is a parliamentary system of government in India because the Lok Sabha is elected directly by the people. Parliament can amend the constitution. Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. Council of Ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. Now, if you talk about this parliamentary form of government, again the concept of collective responsibility comes into existence. And if you talk about the concept of collective responsibility, you have to understand that this collective responsibility comes from this executives being responsible to the legislature. If executive is responsible to the legislature, what do we mean with this concept? If you talk about this executives being responsible to the legislature, it means that there should be some provision of no confidence. But if you talk about the concept of legislature, then it includes the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So which section is to be included into this needs to be understood very clearly. When we talk about this Council of Ministers responsibility, it always comes in the hands of the Lok Sabha. Why Lok Sabha? Because Lok Sabha represents the people directly. They are the representatives of the people. On the other hand, Rajya Sabha is representative of the states. That is why this responsibility has been given in the hands of the House of the People and not Council of States. So the answer would obviously be D, that is Council of Ministers responsible to the Lok Sabha. Now this question is very interesting. Why? If you see this question, statement 1 is also correct. Lok Sabha is elected by the people. B is also correct, that is Parliament can amend the constitution. C is also correct, that is Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. And D is also correct, that is Council of Ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. But here we have to see the demand of the question, that is parliamentary system of government. When you talk about this parliamentary system of government, the basic thing with reference to this parliamentary system of government is that executives are responsible to the legislature. That is having this concept of collective responsibility also. And on the basis of this collective responsibility, we have been seeing this parliamentary form of government, parliamentary system of government. So the answer would be D. Which of the following statements are correct? A bill pending in the Lok Sabha lapses on its prorogation. Again, a very interesting question. If you talk about this lapsing of a bill, then various concept comes into existence. How a bill lapses? Whenever the House is dissolved, as Rajya Sabha is a permanent body, it is not subject to dissolution. But Lok Sabha is not a permanent body, so Lok Sabha can be dissolved. If you talk about the concept of dissolution of Lok Sabha, then there can be certain basic dimensions associated with this. Now, dissolution simply means when the House will be elected again. when elections will be held and a new house will be constituted, that is the concept of dissolution. So Rajya Sabha being a permanent body is not subject to dissolution. On the other hand, Lok Sabha being not a permanent body is subject to dissolution. It can be dissolved after every 5 years, or when the president seeks to dissolve, when the president thinks that it is to be dissolved just because there is no party which can form the government or which is in the majority. So when this dissolution happens, what will happen to the bills pending in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? That is the question. Again, here also you will see this differentiation of power of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now, when this dissolution happens, there can be basic conditions associated with this. If you talk about these conditions, let me give you certain basic examples. What can be the condition? The first condition with reference to this can be, in Lok Sabha, a bill is pending in Lok Sabha. Now, if a bill is pending in Lok Sabha, how can a bill be pending in Lok Sabha? If you want to see this concept, a bill can be pending in Lok Sabha with reference to two conditions: either originated in Lok Sabha or came from Rajya Sabha, that is passed from Rajya Sabha and came to the Lok Sabha. Again, in the same manner, a bill can be pending in the Rajya Sabha also. So, if a bill is pending in Rajya Sabha, there can be two conditions, that is originating and passed from the Lok Sabha. Again, if you move forward to this concept, then a bill can be pending in the hands of President. If the bill is pending at the time in the hands of President, then what will happen? It can send for reconsideration. It can also keep it and wait for the decision. Again, if you move forward, then there can be various other conditions associated with this. President can call for joint sitting if there is any disagreement between the two houses. Now, the point is, what will happen to these bills? If we talk about the concept, always remember that in the first instance, the bill will lapse. If a bill is pending in Lok Sabha, either originating in the Rajya Sabha or originating in the Lok Sabha, the bill will lapse. In the second instance, in this condition, the bill will lapse, and in all other conditions, the bill will not lapse. Just remember this much. And every time the concept associated with this will be clear. If a bill is pending in Lok Sabha, it will lapse. Either originating in Lok Sabha or originating in Rajya Sabha, doesn't matter. A bill pending in Rajya Sabha, if passed from the Lok Sabha, will lapse. In all other conditions, the bill will not lapse. All other conditions means this condition only, not with reference to any other condition, with this condition only. Let's come back to the question. So, the first statement is obviously incorrect. A bill pending the Rajya Sabha which has not been passed by the Lok Sabha shall not lapse on dissolution of the Lok Sabha. So, this will be correct. Answer would be 2 only. Do we have more questions? Let's see some more questions. The Parliament of India acquires the power to legislate on any item in the state list in national interest if a resolution to that effect is passed by, again the same question. Just see how the questions are being repeated again and again. The same question, that is Article 249. In the nationalist interest, that is by the Rajya Sabha. Article 249 of Indian Constitution. So, the answer would be D, that is Rajya Sabha by a majority of not less than 2/3 of its members present and voting. The same question has been asked various number of times. So, these are the questions. Now, if you talk about the whole concept associated with this, then we have to see certain basic concepts in this process of lawmaking. The first concept is this concept of constituents of this parliament. What does this parliament constitute? That is Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and the President of India. These three together come up with the concept of parliament. So, at first we have to see these three concepts. Then we have to see the constituents of this Lok Sabha, that is presiding officers. On a regular basis, questions are being asked with reference to that. We have to see various devices and terminologies associated with this. We have to see comparison of powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. We also need to see this concept of committees associated with this. Now, if you see these 4 dimensions, you will see that every year in prelims examination, you will see 2 to 3 questions every year in prelims examination. Now, you have to relate this concept with reference to what is happening. Like last year, there was a question on deputy speaker. Now, if you see this question on deputy speaker, this question was primarily asked because this deputy speaker was in news. But the questions were asked from the static portions. This will come under this constituents of the parliament. So, when you are going through this section, that is the process of lawmaking, just try to see this in the same manner. And you will see that every year 2 to 3 questions will be there in the examination. Now, let me know if there is any issue with any of the questions. Anushtan, sir, answer of Bill Lap's question. Answer would be B, dear. If you talk about this question, the first statement is incorrect, the second statement is correct. Now, the first statement is talking about a bill pending in Lok Sabha. What happens if a bill is pending in Lok Sabha? It lapses. The second condition talks about a bill pending in Rajya Sabha. So, if a bill is pending in Rajya Sabha, there can be 2 conditions. The first condition is originating from the Lok Sabha, and the second condition is originating from the Rajya Sabha itself. If the bill is originating from the Lok Sabha, then the bill will lapse, and if the bill has been originated in Rajya Sabha only, then the bill will not lapse. Here we are seeing this condition of bill originating in the Rajya Sabha only. So, the bill will not lapse. Clear? Answer of no confidence will be both. No confidence. Can you please let me know the question, dear? Okay, this. There is no mention of a no confidence motion in the Constitution of India. Yeah, it's correct. A motion of no confidence can be introduced in the Lok Sabha only. The answer would be C, that is 1 and 2, both 1 and 2. Anything else? Please let me know. Any other doubt? Now, the point is, please go through this concept of very important section, a very important topic. You will see that on a regular basis, questions are being asked from this section. And every year from this process of lawmaking, you will see at least 2 to 3 questions in examination. That is why have some emphasis on this section, the process of lawmaking. And you can relate this concept with reference to state legislature also. There can be some statements from this state legislature also with the passage of time. Aditya, UPSC keeps on repeating the questions again and again, dear. On the same issue, the same question will be asked again and again. Some statements from the same question will be asked again and again. So, don't worry for that. Anything else, please let me know. Otherwise, this is all we have for the day. We will again meet from Monday. And not only this, if you see this process, if you see this pre-connect session, we will move to the next level of this pre-connect also, where we will start with some topics, probable topics for the prelims examination. Presently, we are seeing the questions, and then soon we will start with probable questions also. Thank you, everyone. Let's meet very soon again. We will have this Saturday, Sunday as break, and we will meet again. Thank you for the time. Take care. Bye-bye. All the best.